just answering questions with waptek. Sounds like you want everyone to think that since the language use in legal based in London, foreign to this land, to steal properties regardless if it has no truth at all in words on paper, which is the very tool used to steal properties, and those that are trying to cover where the fraud originated from is in each word. You are saying you might as well just play dead in fiction, where without any truth, essentially just let them have everything people honestly created life for themselves to live and not to pay attention to the instrument specifically used to steal one's property, which is the written words on paper, which can harm without any truth. Truth in words are not the truth. How do you suggest this can be solved if you cannot correct the lie on paper that was then what is it you are saying to the people with this video? Nothing, but their thoughts are on how you let them steal everything you have because you think you have no other choice but the truth, option, and choice. This is someone claiming to be a grammar expert. This is a person criticizing me for pointing out that claiming to have a mastery of legal language and claiming it under quantum grammar, blah, 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 where you take the obvious meaning of a sentence and turn it into some twisted bullshit so that you can try to win an argument on the internet, is not a new behavior, is not a new tactic, and more importantly, it doesn't work. If you go into a courtroom and tell the judge that the rule that says parking tickets will be issued if you don't park legally means I get a cookie, that isn't going to actually fly in court. It is not really any different than that. People making these complaints and conversational bullshit up, claiming that they're grammar experts or experts in legalese and how to interpret it, waste the court's time and do it on purpose. It is a tactic to wear down the court and delay the inevitable. You have to pay your fucking fine. The idea is to make it to where that fine is on a logistical level expensive for the court system. And what happens after the first several hundred times people pull this shit is they make a rule that says if you make sovereign citizen or quantum grammar arguments or any pseudo-scientific, pseudo-intellectual, pseudo-legal arguments, we will state that this is a non-legal argument. You're not allowed to make it in court, and you have to change your tactic. And they give you a day, and if you keep doing it, they say you are not permitted to represent yourself in court in the same way that a lawyer that is incompetent isn't allowed to represent you. For legal reasons, we can't let you represent yourself because you suck at this, and then they make you take on a publicly paid for lawyer that's supposed to represent you. And if you don't let the lawyer do his job, you still get punished. You still have to pay your fine. They still find you guilty, and that's the end of it. Years and years ago, people could come into court and say, I don't like the law. I'm protesting its basis. Like a very good example is, I live in a rural area. I don't think I should have to have a driver's license all of the time when I'm driving. It shouldn't be something I'm fined for. I have the ability to drive. I've never been in an accident, and this just seems like an opportunistic way to get a fee out of me. That's a perfectly legitimate argument. In fact, in many rural areas, if a police officer wants to enforce this because they just, selective enforcement, they have to have a good reason to do it. And if they don't, what happens is the local population goes ahead and votes and decides we're going to remove the rule or lower the fine to $1. It's still a fine. It's still technically following the law, but we're lowering the fine. It's a simple administrative thing. Now, the police officer can either treat this as an opportunity to try to make, revenue enhancement by pulling literally everybody over, trying to find anybody not carrying a license. Or they can just knock it off and let you drive your tractor across a single street, which is really something that happened in my neighborhood where I grew up. The local police officers were trying to do revenue enhancement, so they would charge you a fine if you didn't take your ID with you, or anything else they could come up with, just some bullshit. So the local police department for the county was told, every time you do this and you fail, you have to pay quadruple damages for any damage, not the fine, which means if you prevented that person from doing their daily work, you had to pay them 4 days' pay. And then when that was struck down, what they did is they refused to let anybody enforce it against them. They said, okay, the fine is $1. We're going to call it a $1 crossing the road tax because that's what it was. The people had driver's licenses and all this kind of shit. Didn't matter. They still got you talk back to me. Just a fine for everything. Eventually, what they really got was pay raises. The police weren't getting paid enough, and they were trying to extort bribes. Anyway, let's read the rest of your statement. The truth is option and choices without force that makes every man creative and beneficial life expended. Choices are not when you are pushed to make a choice and to go to a place where the same thing is happening. That restriction in life is the cause of destruction to life itself automatically. Real world in the legal system, is that a real world for the living people? No, it is not. It's for commerce, etc. Okay. The legal system is something that we the people have established by making laws happen against other people. You are being controlled by the mass of the population. It's not just for controlling corporations. And in case you haven't noticed this, corporations aren't limited anywhere near as humans are. So if you want to claim there's duality here, there is. But it doesn't mean that you and I have laws that are only supposed to be applied to corporations. That really has never had any merit. Also, claiming it came from the Church of England or whatever, none of this is relevant, or from whatever claim you're going to make. Are you saying a living person who has their own thoughts that belong only to them is not real? Obviously, I'm not saying that, but you want me to make it about your argument. You're making it about a person versus a legal persona, like an LLC or a corporation I can start. I can start a business. Human beings are not born immediately, as far as the legal system, into being a corporation. We are people. And the legal system acknowledges this overtly. And you refusing to acknowledge that your argument has never had any merit and has never worked in court doesn't change the fact that you're going to keep showing up on people's channels talking shit. Your comments will be archived. I've got them listed below in the description here. I'm going to delete them because I don't give a fuck what you have to say anymore. You ignored the entire subject matter of the video, which is the following, and I'm going to repeat again. People walking into court acting like they can make a creative, invented language so that they can always win an argument are no different than anybody else doing the same thing to you when they would do any other annoying, aggravating shit in the school ground where they would go, yeah but, when you were trying to talk, just to fuck with you. That behavior, called heckling, or among other things, is something that gets you tossed out of a courtroom and told you're not allowed to be in the room because you're incompetent. You're told you're not allowed to be here. We have some work to get done, and you're just trying to prevent it from happening. That's it. You've been judged. And that's the way it should be. Once you make it obvious that you're just trying to win an argument by changing what the words mean, no one has to put up with your bullshit. And they don't. And they haven't for a long time. And someone holding up Robert J. Gould or whatever I forgot their names again. Anybody's name saying, these people are the masters of language. Have only people like you who show up with no punctuation, no grammar, no... Fuck, I don't even know how to interpret it. It's a run-on sentence. I think you put in a period twice in the first section. You literally have an inability to communicate. And it's amazing how many of these people are bombastically stupid. I mean, it's not even a joke. They're not ignorant. They're just literally stupid people. If you are that incompetent at understanding how the law works, fine. But what these people are is they're not incompetent about it. They want to be free from the legal system while living in a country where we the people decide that if you hit me with your car, you have to have a driver's license, you have to have insurance in many states, not all of them, and you definitely have to have a license plate so I can track it back to you so that you can't get away with a hit and run. Because if you didn't have these plates, if you didn't have these numbers, people would run away, and they do anyway. And we know that. It's a simple example. If you don't want a law that says you have to have a driver's license, that's fine. Most people over 18 know how to drive a car. I don't have a driver's license right now, but I'm competent to drive a car probably. But that doesn't mean that I should have the right to take off the identifying data off the car, like the VIN number. I shouldn't be allowed to take off the license plate, so I can prevent people from making me pay for the damage I did because I decided to go off and run people over with a car. People like you do drive-bys and hit and runs, and you try to get away with it. I've never committed a crime. Yeah, because you redefine what the crime is by renaming the words and giving them new definitions so that you can always say you're right. Yeah, that's really great. You're great at parties. So, that's it for the commentary for this comment section. And I'll read the last full sentence here. You didn't use punctuation for the next paragraph at all, really. Okay. Every word is the instrument to steal, and every word must create a remedy by finding the truth in every word that has been published for the entire world to be noticed of those words, where otherwise is just the same as stealing without any words or on paper. You've talked yourself into a circle. I hope you didn't get too dizzy. Maybe you giggled a little, but we're done. And no, you don't have a right to post on comments on my videos if I don't want you to. Go make your own videos telling people your bullshit. You're free to do that. But I'm not having you come here ignoring the subject matter of the video because you posted half of this under a video completely unrelated, and I don't know how the fuck you did that. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. Bye.